Hello, welcome back for chapter 6. I am loving reading through these. I am so gripped already. I had said to myself I was only going to do 2, and then I was only going to do the 5th one, and now we're on number 6. I do think my bum is starting to go numb, so I do think this is going to be the last one. So chapter 6 says, warning, very graphic. So we left off with, we've lost Carrie. Melanie tried to escape. We suddenly knew her name. How did Carrie find out what her name was? How do they know who she is? Anyway, I wonder who the girl is that's in there, and how long has she been in the basement? Let's get stuck in. Chapter 6, her favourite part. The cold wasn't just cold. It was a predator. It stalked you, waited for weakness, then sank in deep and stayed there. I'd lost feeling in my fingers within an hour. My toes followed. The chain around my ankle bit into skin that had already begun to crack and bleed. And no matter how tightly I curled into myself, the wind from the barred window cut through me. Carrie's blood had followed me here, a breadcrumb trail, but no one would ever come looking for her. Not anymore. The concrete floor radiated with frost. Water pooled in the cracks, freezing overnight into thin sheets of glass. The only warmth came from my own body, and even that was leaving me. The first night I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I kept my back to the wall and my eyes on the other girl. She hadn't moved much. Her arms were wrapped around her belly, her head resting against the stone. When she finally spoke again, her voice was dry as dust. "Don't worry," she said. "He won't touch you." "Not yet." I said nothing. He likes to wait. Let it build. Says it's more meaningful that way. I didn't ask her name. I didn't ask how long she'd been down there. I didn't ask anything because I didn't want to hear the answers. But she told me anyway. "They call me Cricket," she said. "I used to have another name, but it doesn't fit anymore. You'll see." I heard the door open, then heavy footsteps and shuffling came down the stairs. I heard a thump, 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 following behind his footsteps like an echo. When he reached the bottom of the stairs, I didn't look up, not at first. But then I saw an arm next to his foot. It was Carrie's. My head flew up and I instantly regretted it. He had dragged Carrie down the stairs behind him by her arm. She laid sprawled out on the icy floor behind. He had dragged Carrie down the stairs behind him by the arm. She laid sprawled out on the icy floor, eyes still wide open. I was horrified. I tried to scream, I think, but nothing came out. My mouth was just agape as tears fell onto my tongue, drying it out as if I had all the water in the world to spare. I wanted to look away. I wanted to close my eyes, but I couldn't. I couldn't move an inch. She didn't even look real anymore. Limbs stiff, skin going waxy. Her head hung at an angle that made it look as if it was detached. He hung her and then left. Just 5 feet off the ground, suspended from a meat hook. Her baby blue coat soaked with blood that had frozen at the hem. Every now and then a droplet would fall. It would land on the stone with a soft plink. Cricket didn't flinch when it happened. "He left her like that on purpose," she said. "She needs time to cool down." The laugh that followed didn't sound human. I buried my face in my arms, trying to block it all out. The smell was getting worse, thick, metallic, and sweet in a way that made my stomach turn. The next day, or maybe the next, there was no real way to know. Sam came down. He didn't speak to us. He didn't even glance at me. He walked straight to Carrie, dragged a chair over, stood on it and started cutting her hair. Strand by strand, slow, careful. He held each lock between his fingers like he was in a salon snipping it clean with silver scissors. Cricket sat up straighter, clutching her belly, eyes sparkling. "This is my favourite part." I turned away, bile rising in my throat. "He always does the hair first," she whispered. "It's his ritual." His hair holds memories. I bit down on my lip hard enough to taste blood. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to claw at him until there was nothing left. But I didn't move. Neither did he. He kept cutting, methodically, until Carrie's scalp was patchy and raw. Then he stepped down from the chair, gathered the hair into a canvas sack and left the room without a word. The door slammed behind him. Silence returned. Only the wind and the creak of the hook holding her up as she swung back and forth. Cricket exhaled like she just watched a really good movie. God, I miss that sound. Snip, snip, snip. It's like ASMR, right? I curled tighter into myself, wishing for death, but death didn't come. Only more time, more freezing, aching, endless time. Days passed. We ate when he brought food, drank water that tasted like iron, slept in the dirt, huddled near the wall. Cricket talked. Sometimes to me, sometimes to herself, sometimes to Carrie. She told stories about girls who had come before, about how she got pregnant. Maybe. Could be his, could be somebody else's, she said, rubbing her belly with absent affection. I stopped keeping track after the third. Was Carrie yours too? She giggled when I looked horrified. No, silly, Carrie isn't mine. Sam adopted her from town a while ago. She was living on the streets, took her in like a stray dog. She was always his favourite. Got to live upstairs, you know. Isn't Sam so sweet? She said, smiling ear to ear as small bits of blood dropped out of her cracked lips. This lady had lost her mind a long time ago. I don't bother asking what happened to her other children. I don't want to know. One day Sam returned, but this time he didn't bring food. He brought tools, a tarp, buckets. He didn't look at us, didn't speak. He just laid the tarp under Carrie, climbed the chair and began cutting. Cricket leaned forward like a kid watching cartoons. Oh, she breathed. New episode. He turned away, shaking, but I could still hear it. The sound of flesh being separated, bone cracking, wet thuds as limbs hit the tarp. I dry heaved until my throat tore and Cricket shushed me. "You can't miss the good part," she whispered. "It's not often we get a live show." I pressed my hands over my ears, but the sounds were inside me now. They weren't going anywhere. When it was over, Sam carried the pieces away one by one in black trash bags. He left the chair and the hook. Cricket sighed, her voice dreamy. "I think he's burying her, somewhere special like Pet Cemetery." I didn't respond. For days after that, all we had was stew. Warm, thick, meaty stew. It filled our bellies and numbed the sting of the cold for a while. But the taste, the texture, I started guessing what it was. Deer? Rabbit? Elk? Maybe a mountain lion, I said. Cricket smirked and replied, "That'd be fun, right?" I didn't speak. I forced the stew down until I couldn't. One night as we huddled in the dark, Cricket licked the spoon inside. "She tastes different than the others," she said. My blood turned to ice. I looked at her, really looked. She was smiling, melting into her own madness. And suddenly I couldn't breathe. I dropped the bowl, stumbled away from the wall. My stomach turned, and I retched into the corner until nothing came up but bile and horror. Cricket didn't move. She just stared at me, her expression full of sympathy. "You shouldn't waste it," she said slowly. "She was trying to help you, you know." Collapsed against the wall, shaking. All I could focus on was before my eyes. The empty meat hook swaying in the cold. Oh my goodness. The stew. I wonder, does that mean the stew that they'd had before? Do we keep going? Do we keep going? I think I'm going to do it. Let's just do it. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe and go watch number 7.